everybody, Giselle Grenier here from artplace.ca. In today's lesson, I'm not even going to say it's going to be a short video because every time I say that it ends up being much longer. We're going to be creating background tissue paper, and in this particular lesson it's going to be using stamps. And because we're into the book of backgrounds, and this specifically, this can be used for any type of project, but I'm doing this specifically to help the people who are doing my book of backgrounds. And what's happening is I'm getting some emails because people like this, but then when they go to Michael's and they see the price of it, you know, it's kind of pricey. My objection to using store-bought paper is that it's repetitive. You don't get there's no uniqueness to it. It's repetitive. It's the same design, and yeah, you can cut out pieces of elements. I myself prefer to do stuff by hand, but this is very convenient and it's really good quality. So I thought I would show how to create your own tissue, because you can get tissue paper anywhere, and you can also use, in the previous video I did, you can use napkins, deli paper, gift bag tissue, bleeding art tissue, tracing paper. You can use anything. So I just want to show you some quick examples of different, this is some stuff I stamped, and this is on rice paper, a large piece, and this is much thicker, so this is good to collage on thinner paper if you're creating an art piece that's going to go in a frame or in an art journal. And here's how I did it on an actual piece of mixed media paper. So this technique I'm showing you, you can do it on canvas, paper, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all this stuff aside, because I am always struggling for room. I picked out a bunch of stamps, and it doesn't matter what they are. If you have stamps that you haven't used in ages, it doesn't matter. Just the more, the better, because that way you can create really unique patterns. And what I've done for this particular lesson, I'm going to be using these soft stamps, and they stick on plastic. And instead of using the actual little acrylic block for this, I'm using plexiglass, and this is the plexiglass that I was using for my reverse glass technique. And you can get, we had it cut small and large. I'm going to use a large piece because I want to create a full sheet. So what I like to do is on the slick side, and you can use an acrylic block, you don't have to use this, you can just use whatever you want. I'm just showing you what works for me. And then I've got some, for this I've picked a lot of just basically typography and a couple of accent pieces. So this is one's called Ransom. It's from Royal Land Nickel, and I can actually stamp the whole thing, which is actually, maybe I will show you that first. Let me show you that first. And I took the paper off the table that I was using to create another background. I was just off painting on it because I want the no stick mat on this. So without even taking this stuff off the sheet, and professional stampers, you guys are probably pulling your hair right now because of the way I'm doing things. I'm not a professional stamper. I just like showing what works for me, and if it works for you, fine. If not, and I love the smell of this. This is the Stays On. Love the smell, which is probably not the healthiest thing. And just with this, and just down and press, and I can use a brayer. Okay, use a brayer on this. Voila. And then I can just continue on, and I'll turn it the other way around. Doesn't really matter for placement. This is just for a background. And do this side. And I'll repeat this with a whole bunch of paper until I have nothing left. Okay, there's nothing left on that. So I can basically just go to here. Voila. Okay. So there's one piece of paper used up. And how much ink you put on your stamps will make the colors even pop more. You can also do this with acrylic paint, which is a separate video. So I'm going to put that aside. So that's using the whole sheet at once. Put that aside. And so now let me go to chaos just walking the rooms. I better cover that. Let's go to this thing here. And I'm going to create a piece for this. So I love anything with typography. This is going to be a mess to put away though, because actually, you know what's a better way of doing it? If I do it right on the paper. Now this is actually good if you do this in many times. That way you can take advantage of doing the print. Let me go back to this one here. So this is going to be a typography piece. But yeah, it's going to be a mess to put away, because it's so many pieces. Now, these are too thin, so I can't use that. But I can stamp multiple times. So if I take that, shiny side, press that down so you assemble everything. Okay. And stamp your letters. Oh, there's that one. So I don't want to use these anymore. So I'm just going to put these on here. And yes, I know I should clean the stamps actually. What do I have anything left on that? Yeah, actually I do. This is how I clean my stamps. That's how I clean my stamps. Again, it's just a background. I got some emails from people saying, why are you doing it that way? It looks ugly, but it's a background. It's not for a focal point. If you were doing something for a focal point, that's a completely different story. This is just for a background. Okay, so you get my point on that. All right. I'll put that aside and clean that after. Now I can go to the smaller block. Actually, I don't even have to use the block for this one. If I just wanted a certain piece, I can take it and just stamp. That way it's not covering the whole thing. There's a lot of ink on this, holy smokes. There we go. And then I'll put that aside. This is grunge letters. Who makes it? I have no idea. This is just a bunch of stamps that I picked up at a scrapbook place that was closing down. Some I got at Michael's. And whatever's left. This is why it's good to have multiple sheets. That way you don't use the same stamp 5 or 6 times. You do a bunch of sheets and then you can just go over and over and over. And I'll put that one aside. But you get the idea how I'm doing this. And this is graffiti. This is Kaisercraft. And I want this number here. 16. Now that's got a hard edge on it. I'm not a fan of any hard edges, so I'll stamp. That's better. So it went over a little bit. Now because these are so unique, that'll be it. But what I'll do is I'll put that on another piece. This is tracing paper. And I'll just keep going until it's used up. So you see how easy this is to create your own tissue. I think that's about it. There we go. So if you have a long table, like if you're going to use your kitchen table, that's fine. Just make sure you protect the table and just have a whole bunch of sheets ready to go, like a little assembly line. So I can do it like this. And it's up to you if you want your paper to be the same, if you want it to be different, completely up to you. So I've got the chicken wire, which is also Kaiser, however you pronounce it. And then just putting it on. You can see it's going to be totally unique. Oh, let's do it on some of this paper here too. It'll be totally unique. This is the bleeding tissue, and because I'm not using water, it's not going to run. Okay, let's use up the rest. Okay, put that away. You can easily see how this could become just, and this is the same thing as what I do when I do my mono printing. It gets so overwhelming. Now, what does this look like? I love these butterflies. So this is perfect. And this I picked up, oh my God, for cheap at Lens Mill. I have no idea if it's available anymore. That'll stick on there. There we go. And I'm using the archival ink because I want this stuff to be permanent. I'm not a fan of water-soluble product when it comes to background stuff. Look at that. I like doing a lot of my stamping with acrylic paint. So let me get a half and half here. So, look at that. More room. Just keep stamping until I've run out. And this is how your pieces take on a really unique look, because they're you can't, and like I said, unless you measure, you can't replicate this. So if you like doing little pieces, like if you want a particular pattern, let's say you want to sell it, then yeah, you'll have to measure and then lay out everything and do it like an assembly line. I'll stamp that. Oops. Love that. Okay. So you get my point on that. Here's another really pretty one. And it doesn't matter what order you stamp the stuff in. Right on top of the chicken wire. That one's pretty full, but what I'll do is I'll do a half. I'll do a half. And that one I'm going to put aside now. Get a partial piece. Oh, that one lifted up. Okay, I had to stop. I got a delivery of art supplies and Mia went ballistic on the poor UPS guy. And then when I came in, I thought, oh, I know what I want to do. So I grabbed a couple more stamps. So, okay, so let's see. So I've got my papers here. Got a lot of butterflies, so I see a theme going here. And oops, my cup of tea almost fell over. So I also have these grunge butterflies. So this theme is going to definitely be just butterflies. And I also have some leaves and some circle swirls. Whoops, whoops, I off stamped there. These take the ink really well. Love it on top of the chicken wire. Anything else? Oh, let me do some on this one. Even if it's all wrinkly, it doesn't matter. And do some small ones. Oh, I like this one. It's got a checkerboard on it. And I'm really sorry that I don't know who makes these, but that's not the point of this, is that you basically just use what you have. I got a lot of this stuff at, like I said, the scrapbooking store that was shutting down, unfortunately, because it was local. The only local one. Let me do one of these on here. Love that. Oh. Okay, so that's that. So you can even create your own themed paper. So put that away. Some circles. Now this one here, I can use the whole thing as is, which is what makes it really cool, because I never put these stamps away in a particular in a right order. So I can just stamp on some parts and then go here and just put it on, and it never, I never get the same pattern twice. As long as I do my off stamp, then I can come in, I can do this, I can do this one, I can do this one, and I can do this one. Come back right up here. Now, if you don't want to overlap your stamping, then of course, take it off. Like take the piece off, which I will do when it comes time to getting fussy. And I want to, now I want to get some background pieces in there, so let me, whoops. I want to get some little background doodads in here. And I was going to do the embossing video. In this particular video, I'm going to make that a separate video. Getting feedback on how the videos are being done, and people like it when I do smaller projects. That way they can concentrate on one technique and not get overwhelmed with so many. In this day and age, we are flooded with everybody's got a course for this and a course for that, and it just gets overwhelming, and I get overwhelmed. Just, you know, trying to learn Photoshop for the degree that I have to know it for all our clients. You know, I get a client who provides me video files and says, okay, I need you to create some type of intro and for this, that, and the other, and I go, yeah, Joe, Photoshop help. So trying to do the videos into smaller pieces. My challenge is I get so distracted, my ideas come flooding in, and what I tell my own personal clients, that my creative clients, when the ones that are creative and they're making some money off their crafts, their artwork, I say, you know what? Just focus on doing only one thing at a time, and just put what you want into a little file, ideas, whatever, and come back to it. So you only do one thing at a time. You think I'd practice what I preached? No. Right here. So you have an idea now, and I'm finishing this now because I actually want to use these in a background. And then my grunge font. I love these ones. So these ones I'm going to just do the random stamping. So I'll come in here, and parts that are kind of empty, I'll just do a little bit of a stamp. Okay. I'll do A, B, C, D, and come down here. This saves me time. I hate mounting stamps, and it's just me. If you want to mount the stamps, go right ahead. Let's do a long one here. This one could use a lot more work, so if I take the whole thing, oops, can't do that. It's already mounted. Stupid. And I shouldn't be doing this on my actual paper. Where she falls, nobody knows. Again, if this was your focal piece, it would be a completely different story. I'm doing this roughly, grungily, messily, with no plan in place because I don't want it to be organized. Oh, we're dry in there. I don't want it to be organized. When it becomes organized, patterns start appearing. I love, who makes this? This is the Kaiser Craft. Hope I'm pronouncing this right. Oh, we've got lots of patterns now. Ooh, hoo, hoo. Lovely. Do I have anything left on that? Probably not. Okay. I think I'm getting high on that ink. Well ventilated area. Okay. Did I use everything? Yeah, I used all that stuff. So there we go. Now. I was going to do this in a different video, but all I want to do is add little random pieces of text. And where I'm actually putting the stamp, I'm tilting the stamp so I only get ink on part of it. Then come in here and I can stamp over 2 pieces of paper. It's kind of hard to see. That way I get a little bit of this and a little bit of this. And I'm putting the text in. See? Where there's space. So in saying that, oh, see, here we go again. Here we go again. In saying that, oh, I don't have a mask ready. Let's see if now this is beyond the scope of this particular project, but you could also stamp inside a circle, inside a stencil. Okay, you can, whatever. You can also just stamp text first and then do your stamping on top of that. See, with these little ones, you definitely can see a pattern going. So I only use this in some spots. I don't like using it right to the edge. Okay, let's clean that up. Put that away. So there you go. So there's I mean, how many did we create? We created quite a bit. Then we've got our measuring tape. And you may say, well, I see a butterfly here, here, and here, like the same butterfly, but these pages get torn. I don't apply these pages solid to my background. If I want to purposely put one whole sheet, I will design that sheet by itself. I will design that sheet by itself where everything is organized. I'll use that big acrylic block when doing the design. So I can put this one here like this, but when I use it, I'll probably tear. You know, I won't use the measuring tape in more than one measuring tape in all the pieces. So hopefully that makes sense. And I can also, if I only want it to go a certain way, then you can have it cut off that way. There we are. Cover that. The cat's coming in the room. And put that away. So that's it. So I'm going to create the embossing video in a separate video. That way you can try this first. And then I will do an embossing video where we create tissue paper with embossing, which is kind of cool. I have to wait for the cat to leave the room because of the powder. So we've got what? Let me. Oh. That way you can actually see it. So we have that. Okay. Use front or back, doesn't matter. Be backwards this way. So we've got that one. Got that little doodad piece. Again, you don't have to collage that down like that, whether it's a background or on top for art journaling or on top of a mixed media piece. You can tear it to use pieces. We've got that. I am loving that. Oh my god. Loving this. Okay. That one. This massive one. You can also tear around that. Because the tissue is transparent, you'll have very little of the actual tissue showing, but you'll see the moth. And because all this is done with the archival ink, you can actually color and paint over these. Little one. Now bleeding art tissue, the minute you add water, after a few seconds, its yellow will start to dissolve, so you have to keep that in mind. I've got that one. Love that one. And we've got that one. Oh yeah, and we have this one. The ransom one. So there we go. So I hope that you enjoyed this. And so remember, all you need is archival ink and some type of acrylic block if you want to do it that way. So plexiglass. You can even try, I don't know if it'll work, packaging, like when you buy stuff in the grocery store when it comes in that hard plastic, I think it's called clamshell. It's this stuff. You can use this like a flat piece for your block. So just whatever stamp, it doesn't matter. And if you want a particular theme, pull all your stamps out for that. Again, does not matter. And I'm also going to be showing in another video making your own foam stamps from, I think I worked it out to, it's 100 unique and custom foam stamps for $1.50. We're working through that. So that'll be another video. And again, I like to say it's going to be short, but yeah, I don't even make promises anymore. So there we go. So I hope that you enjoyed this, got some ideas, and I would love to see what kind of pieces that you've made. So feel free to email me some pictures, or better yet, share them in our private Facebook group. And it's a free group, and where we can feed off each other's ideas, and sometimes we get a lot of inspiration that way. And my contact information and the link to the private Facebook group is on my website at artplace.ca. So I'm off to clean this up, open up the delivery I got, turn the AC on to take a break, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay inspired.